intellect today. And remember this passage, though he slay me, yet will I trust him. A man named Job said that in Job, the 13th chapter and the 15th verse. Jesus, son of David, have mercy on me, declared blind Bartimaeus in Mark, the 10th chapter and the 47th and 48th verses. If I may only touch the hem of his garment, stated our sister with the issue of blood in Matthew, the 9th chapter and the 21st verse. Father, why hast thou forsaken me? And he cried, forgive them, for they know not what they are doing. Proclaimed our very own Savior, Jesus Christ. You see, I'm in the fight of my life is a statement which comprises of multiple applications, connotations, definitions, and interpretations. And even here today, in the midst of this crowd, there are many dealing with multiple maladies known and unknown to man, yet are facing the future head-on with hope and faith. There's sickness and illness, financial distress, and on-the-job uncertainty. And there's even those situations that plague our society. The evidence of these truths are evident in our society by the degradation of our African-American young black men and women, and the senseless killings of our boys and girls, and a complete world in total distress. Saints, I think it's safe to say we are in a fight of our lives, but nevertheless you must affirm yourself in this truth. In the fight of my life and in the fight, I have an advantage unlike that of the common man. We who are connected to the source, who is God, have already won this battle. You see, any man who taps into God taps into an unlimited source of power and intelligence. For one who has power always has control. You must remember how the potter has full control over the clay. And anytime we look at life, we must look at it as God is the potter and we are the clay, and he has full control over that which his hands touch. There is no potter who does not control the clay in which they mold. You see, the mere limitations of a man that come against the average man do not faze or trouble me, and it should not faze or trouble you. Because one thing that we have that no man other has is the source. You see, this God that I speak of, he has no ears, but he hears. This God that I speak of, he has no eyes, but he sees. And this God that I speak of, he has no hands, but he touches. For when I tap into God, I tap into the mind that placed the stars and the galaxies and calls them by their name. When I tap into God, I tap into the mind that created trees from seeds and shaped this very world. When I tap into God, I tap into the one true sovereign God. That is why a man named Job, who lost all his earthly possessions, whose children died, friends sat silently, whose wife said, you are cursed and die. That very God tapped into the source. And that is why a woman who had an issue of blood for 12 long years and had exhausted all her earthly resources tapped into the source. And that is why blind Bartimaeus, when he could not find one to help him with his feeble eyes and searched all over, tapped into the source. And that is why Lazarus feared not in the midst of his death, because after 4 long days he rose, and this same God proved himself just a few days later by raising his own son Jesus in just 3 days. This God is a source not limited to man's limited intellectual capacity. A source that's omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient. Saints of God, when you tap into God, you tap into the one true divine source. When you tap into God, you tap into ultimate intelligence. When you tap into God, you tap into unlimited, unmatched, unknown, and inconceivable power. For lack of a better word, you tap into the creator, giver, and sustainer of life. And when you realize I've got to tap into God, you can say, as the saints of old, I've seen the lightning flash, and I've heard the thunder roll, breakers dashing, trying to conquer my soul. I heard the voice of Jesus telling me to still find on, and he promised never to leave me, never to leave me alone.
All right, Reverend.